Hey guys, and welcome to episode 26 of the Revive Yourself podcast. Here we go.
Are you sick and tired of being sick and tired? Have you got a health issue that just won't go away no matter what you try? Then welcome to the Revive Yourself podcast, where we reveal the secrets to long-lasting health by getting to the root cause of problems that no one else is talking about. So you can have more energy, clear skin, healthier hair, a leaner physique, more confidence, and most importantly, do the things you love and live the life you deserve. Here's your host, Ryan Martin.
So guys, welcome to episode 26. Hope you're well and hope your health's good, and I hope you're having a good time. You're enjoying the summer. So, been getting some great feedback once again from all the episodes, so thank you very much for that. And also to everyone that's in the free 4-day mini course, I've been getting some fantastic feedback from that. Also, people really saying that they're enjoying the information in that group, and I've had some great reviews. Actually, it's been quite humbling, so thank you very much for that. And as always, I said, if you want, if you've got any gut issues, skin issues, anything that's a systemic problem, things like adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue, thyroid issues, anything like that, gas, bloating, indigestion, acid reflux, whatever it may be, things that have been a chronic issue for a long time, then send me an email at ryan@reviveyourself.co, or head on over to www.reviveyourself.co, and you have the link for that free 4-day mini course there. If it's not up on the homepage yet, then as I said before, just hit me up with an email at ryan@reviveyourself.co. Also guys, I just want to say thanks very much for the positive follows and feedback I've got on Instagram. If you want to look at us there, it's revive_yourself on Instagram. And got some good messages coming through, actually, some really nice inboxes, people saying they love the show and they want to get involved and work with us, which has been lovely. Over on Facebook, we're at Facebook.com/Revive Natural Health, so that's been great there. And got some really nice comments as well, all about the last episode on organic food, and whether it's the same as or whether organic food is the same, and whether it's always better than conventional food. And hopefully that's opened your eyes a little bit into the dangers around just buying any organic food, and also what the difference is between high quality organics compared to these companies that can just label whatever they want organic and just I'd say disrupt or destroy the quality of organic produce. So, as I said before, look for the highest quality organic you can. But anyway, enough of that. Today's episode is a really fun one, and it's actually what I really enjoyed doing. It's with the founders of Guiltless Superfoods, Daniel and Lindsay Crouch. It's a really fun episode. So I first come across Daniel and Lindsay whilst looking through Doug Kaufmann's antifungal diet, researching his antifungal diet and some of the recipes he advocates. And I come across these tortillas, and I was thinking, well, how can tortillas be on it? Because they're full of usually wheat or gluten and yeast, etc. All things that are banned on antifungal diet. I looked into them, and it said Guiltless Superfood tortillas, and I looked into it. I went on their website and was like, bang, need to get these guys on the show. The tortillas were made with their own proprietary 7-seed blend. And looking in the backstory of Daniel and Lindsay, and I was like, I need to get these guys on the show. They're doing some phenomenal things. They're paving the way. I mean, it said, don't just make a living, make a difference, and that's what these guys are doing. They're making a huge difference, especially to anyone with a fungal condition and anyone who wants to have treats and have guilt with them. And these treats are, go on over to the website www.guiltlesssuperfoods.com. You can also find them on Instagram at Guiltless Goodies, or Guiltless Goodies on Facebook as well. But have a look, they've got some phenomenal things. We're going to go into them on the episode. So without further ado, here's Daniel, here's Lindsay. Enjoy the episode, and I'll see you on the other side. 3. Hey guys, and welcome to episode 26 of the Revive Yourself podcast. Today we are here with the founders of Guiltless Foods, and Guiltless Goodies, actually, that's what it's called. You can find the guys at www.guiltlesssuperfoods.com, and we're the founders, Daniel and Lindsay, Crouch. How are you doing today, guys? You okay?
Oh, yeah.
Good morning.
Good.
Happy Monday.
Yeah, the guys are actually, as a lot of my guests are overseas from Austin, Texas, and you were saying the music or country music capital of the world. Is that what you just said a minute ago?
Actually, live music capital. We don't discriminate against any type.
Live music capital of the world. And as you can see, they're very upbeat and very American, which is great, which I love. I love having people on our show that are really enthusiastic, so that's good. So you said
Hey, if we don't bring the good energy, who is, right? You know?
Exactly. I wish there's more people in the UK that have more of the that energy, because it seems that we're very prim and proper over here, but I like to get things going, so it's great to have good energy on the show. And you said it's summertime over there, guys, yeah? So you're loving things at the moment?
Loving things is a little tough. It's 100 degrees, but you know what? It's been 110 to 15 historically in the past, so we're like thinking it's a reprieve. So we're good. We're well.
So there's no respite from it.
I said we're also ready to get our kiddos back in school. You know, Mama's had the 3 kids home for the last, I don't know how many weeks, so it'll be nice to get them back in school next week.
Yeah, I can imagine. Yeah, so it's 3 of them running around, right? Cool.
We have 3, 4 and under, all 3 boys, ages 4, 2.5, and 6 months. So if you hear the baby, my apologies.
Yeah, so that, which means we're slightly crazy. Once, you know.
I don't blame you, Daniel. You should have left your wife alone. I think you should be blaming him for that, Lindsay. But okay. All together. But no, that's brilliant. So you guys, it's very hot over there. So how does it how's it? I mean, so for you guys working, etc. How does it affect does the heat affect the food at all, or is everything all done?
No, it's all good. I mean, we're manufacturing an SQF gluten-free facility. It's all temperature controlled, and when we make the product, we store it at -10, and then we ship out, with gel packs and insulated containers. And really, it's critical, since we don't use any preservatives, that everything get there, impeccably. And the same thing with our distributors that take food to the stores. It's got to be. The cold chain cannot be broken. So, those trucks might work a little harder, but they keep the integrity always intact.
Right. Yeah. So, guys, just to give a little bit of a background on Daniel Lindsay. So, the guys from Guiltless Superfoods, what they've the first I first come across you was on Doug Kaufmann's website. Do you know Doug personally?
We do very well. He's been a very close friend and mentor to us.
Brilliant. So it was basically more research into parasites, etc. People who are 90 to 95% of the world population have a fungal or parasitic infection. Most people don't even know about it. And the guys produce lots of foods that people eat every day. In terms of maybe wraps, tortillas, bread, doughnuts, for example. We're going to go into this, doughnuts, cookies, etc. But they don't use yeast, no grains, no wheat, no corn, gluten, refined sugar, preservatives, or any unnecessary fillers. So, just wanted to just talk a little bit about that, but also just to find out a little bit more about your story, because I know Lindsay was a chef, I know you're a personal trainer, but how did you get into this? Did you have a problem yourself with parasites or anything like that?
Go ahead.
Absolutely. I mean, we, as a youngster, my mom's love language was food. And, she would always cook for us and bake for us in the way that she knew how. And it was a lot of baked goods, traditional yeast and grains. And I personally grew up really with just a general malaise. I never really knew what was wrong, but I was always depressed, always tired, always felt, hungover. And when I graduated from college, I said, look, I'm going to know myself mind, body, spirit. I have no other objective in life but just to figure out what's going on with me. And is this really the best that life has to offer? Mm-hmm. So I went on a very strict, and when I say strict, it was eggs, tuna fish, and bagged vegetables, and that's it. Mm-hmm. And, what do you know if it worked? It did work. And, but it was also difficult to, live a lifestyle like that. So, basically in discovering that, grains and one of the first books I ever read was called Protein Power by Dr. Dan Eads. And it pretty much, this is back in, back in 2003 or so, when, the whole paleo, trend was starting and, it was kind of a derivative of Atkins basically, which is just, keep your carbs low and in some form or other. And when I went on that personally, it worked, and it really helped me to lose a bunch of weight and feel good, and just felt like it was the solution that I've been looking for. But my wife, Lindsay, who at the time was a personal chef, was like, you know what? Let's figure this out for other people who maybe just don't want to eat, frozen veggies and eggs all the time. So it was really a solution for me personally.
Yeah, 100%, and that's the thing. A lot of these diets are quite, as you said, you got great results, but a lot of these diets are quite restrictive, and it's hard, as you say, to keep a social life, and also just for your sanity as well. A lot of the time, it's very hard because you've got to enjoy your human experience, right? Although if you're dealing with people who've got chronic issues and they need that period of time where they really need to be strict with themselves, that's fair enough. But moving on down the line, you want to be able to enjoy life, and a lot of these foods, I mean, as you know, food is such a social setting. It's something that people come around to eat together whenever there's a birthday or a party, whatever it is. There's always going to be food there. So for some guys like yourselves who are making these phenomenal foods that haven't got any of the bad, I say the badness in them, any of the foods that can contribute to ill health, I'd say, any of the ingredients that contribute to ill health, it's a big plus for us. So, Lindsay, is your story similar, or did you just get into this because it was literally just your connection with Daniel and you being a chef?
Exactly. It all started from me wanting to feed Daniel well after he had, just grown up just, misdiagnosed and, on all these medications from doctors, them throwing just pill after him saying it was, this issue or that, never asking him about his diet. And then when he went and did all that time researching and figuring out, nutrition and exercise and just healthy eating and eliminating grain, sugars, and yeast, made him feel that well, I was determined to help him continue on this new healthy lifestyle and not have to go back to ever feeling the way that he did, as a kiddo. And so it was out of wanting to feed my husband well that I said, I'm going to dive into, nutrition and a new type of culinary, eating for our family and, feed him the way that he needs to thrive. And especially as a personal trainer, he needed not only, a lot of energy to train his clients, but he also needed to look the part and feel the part in order to be a leader in his industry. And so I went to the Culinary Business Academy and learned how to run a personal chefing and catering business. And I did that all on grain-free and gluten-free foods. And I found myself using a lot of vegetable substitutions where, you would normally find a noodle or, a grain or a pasta or stuff like that. I would be using zucchini noodles or, things of that nature. But we did still see a gap. We really saw in my clients' needs that they were wanting, that bread experience. They wanted, a pizza feel, or they wanted a wrap feel or something along those lines. And so that's when we made ourselves, even go a level further in our, discovery of how we could make, that comfort food still feel like Americans weren't, being deprived of, those foods that they loved and grew up on. And so that's when, we really did a lot of soul seeking and just, journeying to find, how we could recreate bread. And so the idea came to us, kind of through a dream and through lots of prayer and soul searching of, to use seeds. And, it was a challenge because, nothing had ever been done like that before. There were no recipes out there that we could just kind of, emulate. It was a brand new thing to discover which seeds would bake well and how they would taste together. And, it was a journey and a long process to figure it out. So, yep, it came from, wanting to feed my husband well, but seeing that there was still, a need to have that comfort food of, bread type items around. So that's where it came from for me. Yeah.
And do you guys still eat like this way all the time? Or do you have? Yeah.
Breakfast, lunch, and dinner, it's a guiltless item. And, that's the neat thing about these products is, you can eat them all throughout the day. They're high in fiber, so they clean you out. And actually, if we don't eat enough of it, we find that, we don't have as healthy of a gut as we would if we were eating it several times a day. And so we really incorporate it for, breakfast, lunch, dinner, and snacks every single day.
Cool. And so you've mentioned there a little bit about the trouble you had, or not trouble, but the challenges I'd say you had when it comes to creating these, the bread, etc., the wraps.
Right.
As you guys listeners can see if they go to your website. As I said before, it's www.guiltlesssuperfoods.com. So you have a look at that. You mentioned your 7-seed blend. So
yes.
Can you just talk us through a little bit about what your 7-seed blend is and how you come to make it, and the final recipe? Like, a lot of effort went into that, I'm guessing, to make it right. Yeah, because I know what it's like. Because this is a question I was going to say to you with these things. Like, we'll get into it later on down the line. But a lot of people, when they cook and they use like almond meal, for example, instead of using flour, they have a trouble getting their cakes or whatever it is to rise and to even to taste good. So just talk us through that a little bit.
Sure. So, the 7-seed blend was based off of nutritional needs. We decided which seeds we would use based on, their nutritional profiles. Mm-hmm. And so, we use organic 7 seeds there. It's a totally proprietary blend. We've totally created it ourselves. It was a ton of test kitchen of, the way that we would react and taste and blend with each other. And so there was a ton of test kitchen back in the early days. And it was so funny, we wanted to grind the seeds fresh ourselves because, of course, if you buy pre-ground flax, it can kind of lose some of its enzymes and already being ground. And so we would get our Vitamix and ground the seeds down ourselves in our apartment in Dallas, Texas is where we were at the time. And we had neighbors going, "What is that sound?" Our Vitamix was going basically 24 hours a day in order to keep up with the, orders we were fulfilling out of our apartment kitchen at the time. And so, we grind the seeds down fresh ourselves to this day. We have a huge seed hopper grill or mill grinder that we use, and we grind it fresh ourselves. We mix it and then grind it fresh ourselves before every production run. Every seed, of course, was chosen for its nutritional profile, and it's amazing what this seed blend does. You can use it at home. We sell the flour just by itself in 1 pound 16-ounce bags, which is 4 cups, so you can bake at home brownies, breads, lemon tarts, muffins, cookies, anything, or you can buy, our foods already prepared for you. But, it's just kind of miraculous how this flour lends itself to, a pizza crust, which can be savory, or a birthday cake, which is, of course, sweet. And so it's just this neutral kind of flavor, but it's really rich in flavor because it has all those good, healthy fats. It's full of omegas. It's full of fiber and protein. 1 cup of our flour has...
So it's kind of picking up on what Lindsay was saying is that, 1 cup of the flour, it has 28 grams of fiber, 24 grams of protein, and only 4 net carbs. And that was kind of the fine line we had to walk was, as a trainer, needing results. It had to be, it had to be low carb. It had to be rich in fiber. It had to be rich in, omega, the right blend of omega fats, the 3, 6s, and 9s, not too many 6s, and so that was where we really had this iron sharpens iron, which was, had to be excellent, had to really move the needle, had to help people lose weight, starve out fungus, parasites, all that. But then probably the hardest part was for Lindsay because she had to make it taste good. So, that was, it took about, 2 years, I'd say, to really get the recipe right where it performed like traditional flour, but also looked nothing like nutritional flour or nothing like traditional flour nutritionally,
Mm-hmm. So you guys, you come up with the blend, I think it's in 2012, was that correct?
That's right.
Yeah, and so it took you 2 more years to get it completely perfect.
Yeah, it really did.
Yeah, I can imagine that. I mean, what the great thing you got on your site, some of the things you sell, as I mentioned before, you got the cookies and the donuts in there. But even just for people who like, because things like fajitas, for example, tortillas, they're quite a fun food to have. People can go and make themselves, etc. And they don't have. It's very hard to find something like that which is going to not have the pro-inflammatory response, obviously feeding or parasites, etc., etc. So to come up with that was brilliant. Was that even harder to produce from not just the the flour, but then actually start putting it into things like the tortillas and the cakes, etc.
Oh, absolutely. I mean, it's so funny because the flour really is, our 7 seed blend really is what makes us unique. And that's the cornerstone of everything we do. But it took, cultivating it for each individual product. And so, you have this flour that, that represents, your ethos and represents, who you are and how you want to bless people. One of the things we didn't necessarily talk on that might be Lindsay's why is that, she lost her mother of cancer when she was quite young. Right. And so, you hear about this growing epidemic of people who are getting cancer and dying cancer. And we've had, 3 close family members in addition to Lindsay's mom pass away of cancer in the last 5 years. And so we were like, man, this is not right. We just didn't think that it was just the destiny of X% of the population to just get it and just, get it. And well, 50-50, either you're going to live or you're going to die. We thought, no, that's not right. There should be a solution, and food is medicine. So let's create something that really does, solve the problem. And, that doesn't just, it's not like, oh, well, we'll just see what happens. And so, then, but then you have to meet people where they are, and you have to create, even if it is excellent, you have to make it where they want to eat it. It's an enjoyable thing where they want to make it part of their lifestyle every day. And so, we started off with the pizza crusts, and then we would just kind of go item by item, and we'd say, okay, let's create a cookie now. Let's create a muffin now. Let's create a donut now. Let's create a tortilla now. And, each individual, it's kind of like raising a kid. Each child has different unique needs, and so it needs special attention. And, what works for one might not work for the other. And it's just, that's our love. Our goal is to create an entire line of food that you can eat that blesses you, the palate as well as your gut.
Yeah, this is the thing, because it's what I'm always talking to my clients about. It's like we're not in the business of restriction. We're in the business of replacing. So for a little while, if they're going through a healing process, then we have to remove some things, especially if they're dealing with gut issues and they've got a very inflamed gut. But for example, if people love pizza, they're going to want a pizza later on down the line, or they're going to, maybe they want some cookies, or they want a donut, whatever it is, they're going to want it. And you need food for the soul, but instead of having something that's going to cause you grief after eating it and make you feel, as you said, like almost getting a hangover, so it is a lot of, once you've fed these bugs or you got this inflammation, etc. Instead of having these things that are going to give you the negative effects, you can have something delicious like yours, and you're still getting, like for example, you're still getting all the positive benefits that you want, as in you're going to have something that's you're enjoying, that tastes really good to you. It's something that it's almost a little bit of comfort food there, right? But yeah,
absolutely. You're getting the experience. That's what people want.
Yeah, that's right.
They don't want to feel as though they're missing out, because we've all known somebody, and most of us have been on a quote unquote diet for, it might work for 2 weeks, and you lose that weight or you feel cleansed out, and then eventually you want to come back to reality and come back to society, and then it's just this up and down roller coaster that we live on for years and years and years, and it's like what you have to do to get to this unattainable or unsustainable goal, but you just choose not to, and then it just demoralizes you emotionally.
Yeah, that's why I always say to people, very big on saying to people that we don't do diets, because diets by their very nature, they have an end point, okay? Like you're on it, and then you're on this diet for 8 weeks and you come off it and all of a sudden you're back to where you was before. We're all about lifestyle and nutrition, so eating the things, put the good stuff in. And generally, when you put a lot of good stuff in, the bad stuff starts to dissipate anyway. And it's a lifestyle, so you're not just going to be like, well, I'm on this diet for this amount of time before you come off it. Because otherwise, as you say, people do rebounds, and it's like a yo-yo effect, which you don't want. So to create something for people where they can have a cookie or a donut, and it's still... I mean, there's a few companies out there doing this. I don't know if you've heard of Caveman Cookies. Have you heard of these guys?
I think I might have heard of them before.
Okay, they do like a cookie which is made with almond meal, etc., and they don't use anything like yourselves. But you guys you've got more products, and you've gone into, you haven't just gone sweet, you've gone savoury as well, which is really good, because that's the problem most people get. They might be able to have make their cake with almond meal, for example, but then they haven't got the option to make their bread, for example, for that, which is very hard to do. So. In your 7-seed blend, yeah. You've got some of the recipes, some of the ingredients, on your site. What is in the 7-seed blend?
So the great question. So it's the organic golden flaxseed, and then we use organic sunflower, and then organic chia, and we use sesame, hemp, pumpkin, and poppy, all organic. And for the purposes of it has to be what cleanses you. It has to be what starves out the fungus. And so there's a good blend of, omega-3s and 6s. And, at the end of the day, again, that was really the hard part that took, 2 years, was figuring out, holding true to what really worked. But then again, what really tastes good. Because, for example, my father is not a healthy eater and doesn't at all care about eating healthy. And we had to make something that he would enjoy, because we want him to have a long lasting life. And, aside from the emotional duress of losing a parent, early, there's the financial, that, the stress that would put on the remaining parent, and not having a grandparent to help with raising your kids. So there's some selfish motivation there as well, to helping your family live long and prosper, so to speak. And so it had to be, like I said, it had to be something that the normal people, not those quote unquote, healthy eaters, would want to eat.
Yeah, 100%. And that's the thing. I mean, even you say it, you've got a few little facts on your site, like, for example, the chia seeds have more iron than spinach, more calcium than milk, more antioxidants than blueberries, more vitamin C than oranges, more omega-3s than salmon, and more protein than kidney beans, So it is actually, a lot of people, when you're eating something that tastes delicious or seems naughty, sort of, to put a little phrase on it, it's almost like, this can't be good for me because it tastes so good. But that's the little bit of a paradigm shift that people need to make. Like, food like this can taste phenomenal and still be good for you, which is something. So I think I get quite a lot of that from my clients when we start doing a few different recipes. And they're like, I feel like it should be bad for me, but it's really good. Do you ever get that sort of a comment made on your stuff?
It's funny, not as much as you might think. And I think that's because the proof is in the pudding, so to speak. The way you feel after you eat our food is just phenomenal. There's no sugar spike. There's no carb coma. There's no gut feeling of where you feel weird afterward or it makes you feel bad. If anything, you're energized. You have long lasting, energy from the protein and fiber. That's just that steady feeling. And so we really just hear people say over and over and over again of how great they feel, after they eat the food. There really is, people say all the time, it really is guiltless. I eat a donut and I feel amazing. My gut feels healthy. The taste, is really clean. You can, by looking at the product, it has kind of like a golden, light brown color to it. There's no, bleached flour. There's no white, anything to it. And so I think that just by the look and the taste and the feel, it's a very dense product. It's heavy. And so I think that you can just, taste, see, and feel the nutrition. So it's pretty amazing.
Yeah, it's even got bits of, looking at the tortillas at the moment, they even look like you can actually see the shades of green in them from the pumpkin.
Right.
So, yeah, so with this is the thing, you can tell people your ingredients, it's fine. It's to get in the amounts correct. I suppose it was an absolute nightmare for you to try and make that. I can just imagine thinking about it now. It must have been right pain in the bum. So with the tortillas, for example, do all of your products contain, is it all the 7C blend, or have you got different blends for different products?
No, we don't have different blends. It's one blend. We use that same blend for all of our products.
Oh, awesome. I need to see, and if you guys, so at the moment, I know you're in a few retailers, so you're just in America at the moment with this stuff.
Right.
Right. So we need to change that because we need to get some of this out, especially our way as well, because it's something that, it is growing. That the alternative way of eating, removing lots of these foods. A lot of the population still are unaware, but the health industry is growing, especially the organic movement. It's getting bigger and bigger. But foods like this, I think you've come in a golden time, because people are getting more and more aware. You know why they're getting more and more aware? Because everyone's ill. Literally, everyone's ill or overweight, or if they haven't got an issue, they've got an impending one. Because the average person, what they're eating. In your country, it's even worse than ours. What they spray on your foods, with the wheat and the corn, etc. Don't even get me started. But so they're eating all these foods, and the chronic issues are coming. So they either got, whether it be a skin issue or a gut issue, whether they got adrenal fatigue, chronic fatigue, whatever it is. So companies like yourself, I think you're in a good time. You're in a golden age, I think, coming up. So have you got any others? So at the moment, just looking through your gallery, your shop, you've got which I'm going to talk about in a minute. So you've got obviously you sell the flour, so people can go out there and try and make things themselves. And you actually have got some great recipes on the site, haven't you?
We do. We really try, again, to empower people. And, to kind of pick up on a point you just made is that by 2050, that the GDP of the United States will not be enough to cover sickness costs. So, people just, casually glancing around and seeing more and more Americans overweight and the cancer epidemic and, now they're calling, type 3 diabetes, Alzheimer's and Parkinson's, so it's like every road is leading to a really bad place. And, we almost feel like it's sort of our duty to, we've overcome some obstacles in our lives to be able to be where we are now. And, we feel like it's our responsibility to share this and to empower other people because, it's literally a cultural epidemic right now. And you know what? You don't want to, we've just seen too many people, I feel like die unnecessarily or be sick, unnecessarily. And it's funny because the Bible, says, Jesus said, my people fail for lack of knowledge. And we feel it's as simple as that. Most people just don't know any better. But if they did know better and if they liked the taste of the alternative, then they could heal themselves and they could experience this revitalized new life, that was without, issues and pain and mental, trouble. All those things just go away. There's one cure for all the dis-ease. As you know, I know that you talk about this frequently, is that food will cure everything.
Mm-hmm. Food. It's a film. It can either be as I was talking about. It's either you're burying yourself with it, or you're creating a great life with it. It's one of the foundational principles of health. So the thing with this is, as you said, most people don't. We mentioned it there before. Most people don't know, or every advert that's on TV or commercial, you guys call them over there. Nothing on those adverts is ever going to be anything health related. They're all promoting things that, even your cereals, for example, they're the worst. Not only they got corn, wheat, and whatever else, baby glyphosate, they've even got iron fillings in them. They say fortified with iron. They've got iron fillings in them. Good luck with that. Yeah. So this is the one thing people would say. Right, for example, looking on here right now. So a box of skinny donuts costs how much? They cost?
They're right now about $15.99 per pack. It's right at a little under $3 per donut, which is about what you pay for like a kind of a Cliff Bar or a packaged bar, right, in the packaged bar item. But each donut's got 9 grams of protein, 8 grams of fiber, and 20 net carbs, which is less than 2 slices of Ezekiel bread. So it's got that power, and also it's like you said before, it's the experience. You're eating a donut. And you're full for hours.
Yeah, no, 100%.
And then
sorry, mate. All I was going to say, Daniel. All I was going to say was, sorry. My point was going to be, this is the thing, because people can go out and they can buy a donut for £1 or whatever, probably less. Very cheap ingredients. So when they look at this and they go, "Oh, I can't afford that." But the thing is, we don't understand. People are coming from a point of view of just changing their perspective about things and saying, "Well, there's a reason that food's so cheap, right? Because a lot of it's being government funded as well, because the farmers they're not even getting paid enough anymore to produce the wheat and the corn because it's just so cheap. So if we say like this, it's not just like a food for the soul. It's actually a healthy snack. So people need to take it out and say, well, why would I buy this? Obviously, the people you're dealing with generally are quite health conscious and they don't mind spending the extra dollars on something that's going to be high quality for them. But for the people out there that are just getting into this and be, oh my God, I couldn't spend $15, $16 on a packet of 6 donuts thing. Well, you're buying, it's the quality. The quality is everything. And the nutrition, like a normal donut compared to one of yours, they're just different worlds. It's like, they're not even the same thing really. It's called a donut because of the way you made it, it's, for example. But a normal donut is like, I don't know, I can't even explain. It's not even like having a terrible car compared to a good car. One's just like, it's almost a different thing altogether. So the price, when people are comparing them, because I know people would probably have a little bit about prices there, I'd say you can't even compare this to a normal donut. They are incomparable products. Would you agree?
100%. If you look at the ingredients and what you find in a normal donut and what you find in ours, if you did a cost breakdown right then and there, it explains itself. We don't use one single filler. There's no corn, there's no wheat, there's no starch, there's nothing that is a cheap filler in our product. It's all basically organic, high quality, nutrient rich food. It's a whole food product. And so, they're completely different beasts. And we also, say that one of our donuts is basically a meal. With the nutritional profile, you get 9 grams of protein in one of those donuts, 8 grams of fiber. And so if you sit down with one of those donuts and a cup of coffee or a green smoothie or something along those lines, there's enough protein, fiber, and nutrients in there to keep you full for several hours. So basically, it's like a $3 meal, which of course is actually inexpensive, when you look at it that way.
Hugely inexpensive, especially most people spend probably over here, £3 to £4 on a cup of coffee, whatever a day. Over the year, probably $4 to $5 on whatever on a cup of coffee. So if you're looking at it like that, and singly, it's $3 for a donut, and it's not even. As you say, it's a complete meal. It's a very nutritious food. And that's the thing. I just wanted to make that point because people might say, "Oh, compare with money," but it's just a completely different product. It's like comparing. It's not even apples and oranges. It's like comparing apples to a TV. It's a completely different thing. I just wanted to make that point for our listeners out there.
Absolutely. And the other thing too is it's kind of like, what's the value of feeling good? Imagine, feeling excellent. Lindsay and I, we joke about it often. We wake up every day and we're busy as can be. We have 3 kids and we're running this business that's growing, and we're so, quote unquote busy, and so, run ourselves, so hard. But we wake up feeling amazing. And it's kind of like you have to ask yourself the question, what's the value? How do you value yourself? Are you worth investing in? Is it worth it for you to wake up and feel good and be motivated and be inspired? Because anybody that's been hungover, from kind of a long night of drinking, you wake up the next day and you feel just terrible. You're not motivated. We've all been there. But, to most people, wake up feeling that way, I think, every day. And it's just like, what's the quality of your life? And the other point of that is, we feel like you can't afford not to eat well, because truly, if you were to absorb the medical cost of feeling bad, of the diabetes on your own, of the cancer on your own, of the heart disease on your own, it would bankrupt you. And as a matter of fact, I know this, is that's the number one cause of bankruptcy in the U.S. is medical reasons. So we feel like you have to.
Yeah, 100%. I know a lot of people, especially, I've even heard research that says a lot of Americans are 2 paychecks away from that as well. The way it goes, especially because, as you said, everyone's ill, and over, unfortunately, you've got private, you've got a different health service to what we've got over here, but eating's one of the ways you can just nourish yourself and just take a lot of those illnesses, diseases, body act diseases you mentioned, off the table. So, with the chocolate, for example, because you don't use whatever, you've got dark chocolate on some of your donuts. What chocolate do you use for them?
Yeah, no, great question. So it's a 52% dark chocolate, and it is soy-free. It's dairy-free because, one of the things that Lindsay and I are both intolerant of is dairy. We're both dairy. I'm nut and grain, and so, it's a soy-free dark chocolate, dairy-free, kosher parf, non-GMO chocolate chip. And so that's, again, we wanted every single ingredient had to pass a test, is that could, anybody at any state in the game enjoy this food and not get negatively impacted by it. And, our frosting, our glaze for the donuts, quote unquote, is organic coconut oil, and our dark chocolate chips, and we melt them down, and that becomes, our glaze. That's it. There's no, and it causes us problems too. And I'll tell you, because the manufacturing world is set up for ease and efficiency and fillers and additional products to make your manufacturing go faster. And so we have, chosen to leave those out. And again, that's another reason too why the products are a little more expensive, is that we don't throw stuff in there to make our manufacturing easier. We're beholden to a higher, standard, and we want everything to heal people, and that's at the end of our lives what we want to be, remembered for, and to really put out there for our kids and for our parents and our family. We want everything that we make to be excellent, the best tasting, but yet healthiest product available ever.
100%, and that's one of the The thing, I mean, just thinking about some of the things you said there, of course, like everyone manufactures stuff. They're thinking about the bottom line. They're not thinking, for example, like, I mean, I'm not I'm a Roman Catholic I'm Roman Catholic, but I'm not really religious anymore. I'm very spiritual, but I don't take anything away from people who do. But for example, people like yourselves going out there, and the whole way the food processing is set up is against you. It's all about ease. People, as you say, making cheap products for the bottom line, and you're going out there making stuff, and it's all about, you said, healing people and helping people, and that's a completely different way of thinking. So, and I'm guessing it's been very testing time for you guys to go through this and make this, and probably put obviously a lot of blood, sweat, and probably even a few tears into it, building it through. Because
there's, I think in every ingredient there's a little bit of tear in there for both of us. Yeah. And it's a good point, because I mean, we have a young family, but again, that's the reason we're doing this. Is we both take our experiences in life and say, no more.
There's got to be a better way.
There's got to be a better way. We're not going to have our kids go through what we went through. Lindsay, I mean, her whole life, and I can speak to this because there was always this fear. Well, my mom died of cancer. Am I next? I mean, who knows? I mean, is it genetic? Is it just a matter of time before I die? And imagine the stress on us before we met, Doug Kaufmann, who really explained and opened our eyes to, what he feels like, and we agree with, really does cause cancer. And that's the fungal overgrowth and the parasites and just all that, the things that we inadvertently invite in with our food that sort of hitchhike in with our food. And we were just like, we're not going to live like that. I mean, my wife, Lindsay, not only is she my best friend, I mean, but she's, the mother of our children. And we were like, we're not going to have her living in fear. Let's create something that really works. And so, to your point, I mean, neither one of us came from any substantial wealth. And so we've done this, with, the help of God and some, limited friends, all on our own. And I mean, it is tough because, you're manufacturing a product, which is in its own right a tough world, because you're overseeing, the execution of a product that people aren't used to making. I mean, the difference between our flour and then a traditional flour, I mean, our flour is high in fiber, essential fat, and protein, whereas traditional grain-based flour, a cheap subsidized commodity, is zero fat, fiber, and protein. So it's just, you have to really learn how to make it, like I said, these last few years, and then also oversee the execution of it while maintaining a standard that is just can't be picked apart by anybody.
There's certain we can't use.
Yeah, and Lindsay just made a good point. I mean, a lot of the equipment on the market today is meant for, the flour, as you mentioned earlier, it's commoditized and it's cheap and it's just it's valueless almost. It's used as cattle feed. And, the machines are set up to run that kind of a product, not necessarily a nutrient dense, powerful flour. And so, to kind of make this whole thing a little more, interesting / difficult, we've had to get real creative and take a leap of faith and purchase some machines that will do what we need them to do.
No, 100%. And as you said, that it's the same when it comes to, I won't promote anything that I wouldn't take myself. I wouldn't mention anything that I think that's where you get your integrity from. And it's the same with supplements. I mean, they've done studies on supplements out there, and they've gone to look at. They've done tests on the supplements, and they found that some of the supplements out there on the shelves don't even contain any of the ingredients that they say they did. Or, even, for example, zinc, and it's got no zinc in it, for example. That's why everything I promote is always top quality, organic, fermented if it can be. I mean, world-class stuff. And it does cost, like yours, a little bit more, but you're paying for what you get, you're paying for the quality, and that's what you guys doing there. And as you mentioned there before about diseases, things like cancer, it don't have to be, in my opinion, it's not. I mean, you haven't got to be rocket science to work it out. I mean, 1940, I think it was like 1 in 60 or something against cancer. It got cancer. Now it's like 1 in 2, 1 in 3, depending on what gender you are. And,
wow.
And what's that to do with? Is it to do with all bad luck, or is it to do with the food we're eating, the way we're living, etc., etc.? Well, I think we all know the answer to that question. Anyone that doesn't, go over to www.thetruthaboutcancer.com. A guy they call Ty Bollinger, he'll walk you through 9 episodes of the most powerful doctors and alternative health practitioners in the world, and you find out a little bit more about that. But it's the same, the body at disease. We look at, as always, as you guys know, making the product. We talk about, say, if doctors, for example, they fight. They look at fighting disease. We look at regenerating health, and these foods that you're making, they're health promoting foods. And so, thank you very much for making something like this, because it's just going to help a lot of people that are going to struggle if they didn't have an option like this, get through their diet. So, for example, even on so if you go on an antifungal diet, it can be very testing because there's a lot of things you're not allowed, especially all the things everyone enjoys. For example, all the breads, even potatoes. So to see that you can have like your tortillas on there with like a chicken tortillas or whatever else, it's going to make things a lot easier for people. Anything that takes away the pain and gives people pleasure.
Totally. You're so right. I mean, that's really what it is. I mean, you said it earlier so appropriately. We're about replacement. And, we're not trying to take anything away at all. We just say instead of that other tortilla that's, made from corn or grain or whatever, that's, got 20 net carbs in it, 0 protein, 0 fiber, 0 fat, just substitute this instead. And it is going to be a different taste. Just like, getting rid of bad friends that, are all about, tempting you to do bad things. It's different when you get new friends, but they're better for you. And, your taste buds change. The enzymes in your stomach will change over time to want, this new good stuff. And, at the end of the day, I mean, and by the way, thank you for what you're doing is enlightening people, and empowering them to ask the right questions because, if you don't do it, then, people stay in this rut of, that, we believe what we see on TV and the commercials, of a cereal commercial promoting how it's endorsed by the American Heart Association or whatever, and it further reinforces people to eating this wrong way, which further reinforces sickness. I mean, it's like, listen, if the high carb movement was so effective, then why are we 15 times worse off than what we were 30 whatever years ago? Yeah. So it's like, that didn't work. Time out. Let's just stop it. Let's recalibrate. I think more and more people are understanding that, again, thanks to you, thanks to people who are, saying, I know the truth and I'm going to share the truth and help, educate and set people free. Because again, I mean, no one wants to feel bad, but how many people walk around like zombies every day feeling slightly bad, not really even knowing that they're feeling bad. But that's just, they think their lot in life, and they're kind of grouchy to their spouse, they're grouchy to their kids. But yet when you lift that fog, when you eliminate the fungal, the disease from your body, all of a sudden your endorphins flow and you feel better and you're a better, happier, nicer, more accommodating person. And that's how you really create a cultural change in the country. They say the best way to bless the world is to make yourself a better person. And then therefore you have an overflow to go and bless other people with, which, is I think our duty in life is to go and bless and encourage other people.
100%. And the thing is with that as well, I thank you for saying that. But for me, it's just, I hate to see people I was there. That's why I do this. I was there for 5 years, and I went through the medical industry, and I was eating whatever I want, and I went through my 5 years of absolute torture at the hands of that, and I just want people to know the truth. And it's like all these doctors, specialists, consultants, people that my clients still see now, and I deal with them, and they're like, my God, I was paying that guy whatever, and you've helped me. And it's just like, I just want people to know the truth. And it's not, it's just two things you mentioned as well. You said there about how they feel. There's a quote out there, most people die at 35 and they just walk around like a zombie for the next 35 years of their life before they die anyway. They actually get buried in the ground. But it's these foods, you say the fungal infections and parasites, once you stop feeding them and you get rid of them, they stop proliferating as well. You're in a different world. You start to get good bacteria. Everyone knows that now that more and more research is coming out how, gut health. Hippocrates said it years ago. The gut's like the key to all health, but once you start putting good bacteria in, that affects your mood. It also affects the way you think, the way you feel. It's so powerful, food and stress. And then, it's so what you said there. There's so many different ways you can go with it because you're just right, And it's just trying to get this information out to people. And the reason I wanted to interview you guys is because I want people to become aware that they can go out there and get delicious, healthy food that they can have all their home comforts with. Maybe they like to get friends around and have fajitas, or maybe they like to have a coffee and donut day with people, whatever. But they've got the option of doing it and having quality food rather than food that's going to make them worse and take away their health in the long run. So, it's blessings to you guys. Does your food, right? Big question, and I'm obviously going to say yes, but the taste. How does it taste?
We think it's amazing, and it's and a lot of other people do too, because it really is because, like you said before, once most people I think have this coating, this sugar, wheat, coating on your taste buds that really goes all the way down, into your second gut or your second brain, your gut. And, they're sort of slaves to that food, and yeast. And it's funny, something that Doug brought up to me a while back, up to us rather. He said, 52 times in the Old Testament is yeast, or the tribe of Israel told to avoid yeast, because you become literally a slave to this mold that you ingest. And then, of course, yeast is fed by grains and processed sugars and things like that, and starches. And so when you release yourself from that, you don't have this nagging, quote unquote, hunger in your system to satisfy, and then after a cleanse of, higher fiber, low carb, grain free food, your taste buds change. And so, it's kind of like exercise. When people are like, oh, I hate exercise. But then the people who really get it, like, I love it because it brings me the endorphins. It makes me feel amazing. And so it really is a shift, a psychological shift to, you go to crave our food because you feel so good and you feel so clean after you eat it. And then, your definition of quote unquote taste changes. I mean, are you just trying to get a cheap, high from, a processed food that, acts on your brain like cocaine? Or are you looking for an investment in your overall quality of life? Yeah. And, we aren't really for everybody. And, I'll be doing demos in stores and I'll see somebody come up with a cart full of processed stuff. And, they'll say, they'll come by and they'll say, I don't, taste isn't for me. And I'm like, well, I don't say this, but in my mind, I'm thinking I can understand that because your system is so, buried. Yeah, it's toxic. You wouldn't know, the nutrition is there, but you're hidden by it. It's hidden itself from you. And so, you really do come to love and appreciate what it'll do for you and how it makes you feel. Again, it's like, are you looking to food to make you feel, like give you a high, or are you looking for food to do what it's supposed to do, which is to heal you and empower you? And so it just really depends upon, are you a food addict or are you addicted to a quality life? And I think that's the question that people have to ask themselves when you're looking, to, your food experience. What are you really trying to get from this?
No, 100%. Go on, Lindsay.
I was just going to say, but if you do look at the gallery section on our website, we have left it just an open format for customers just to leave their thoughts and feelings about it all, because we do think that people wonder, how does it taste? And if you read through those, people are just emphatic about the taste. They love it. They can't think of having anything else. Once you've kind of gone this way, you would never want a different cookie or a different donut. People actually love the flavor. And, and we're thankful for that, because we wouldn't ask people to eat this way if it tasted like cardboard, or if it was dry, or if it, didn't have a good flavor. And that's one of the things that we're so thankful about this 7-seed blend, is because of all those good healthy fats, it tastes moist and delicious, and it has a really, soft and almost decadent kind of flavor to it, because it's rich and healthy. And so unlike some other gluten-free products, kind of out there, it never gets dry and crumbly because of those good healthy fats, which are the whole substance of, basically all of our products.
Yeah, but the thing is as well, a lot of other gluten-free products out there are just garbage. They might not have gluten in them, but they're full of fillers and binders and even high fructose corn syrup. Some of them, it's not got gluten in it, but it's full of other disease. Yeah, exactly. So your products are quality throughout, and that's why it's a big difference. It's all organic. It's all you say, no fillers, no binders, and that's why I wanted to get you guys out to more people as I can as well, and listen, let people know. We mentioned a little bit about Doug Kaufmann there, guys. If you haven't listened to the episode, it's episode 22. Go there and you'll understand a little bit more about what we've been mentioning and how parasites and yeast. Because once again, you're feeding these things, and once you start feeding them, they proliferate. They're just going to want more and more of the sugar or whatever they want. You say the refined stuff, and so it is a big issue people need to deal with. In fact, I always mention it because one of my friends is also a mentor. He's very, very good at this as well. We always talk about it. It's like, those bugs. I know they want feeding. I can sense when they want stuff. We're much into that. It's when you start thinking about things differently, rather than even looking at weight loss or anything else. When it comes to your health, you start just thinking about or what you're doing to yourself internally, what you're feeding and what you're putting inside yourself, it's a game changer. So the thing we need to do with people like yourself is just make it more readily available, because people can walk down the road and they can get a rubbish sandwich or a cake or a biscuit, but it's just making your stuff more and more available, and the bigger you guys get, obviously, hopefully, the more available it will become. So, have you got? Do you send worldwide, or you do send to America at the moment?
Unfortunately, right now we are confined within the continental U.S., and that's just because of the customs. And then, of course, right now we ship everything temperature controlled. And so, unfortunately, and we've actually had some customers from the U.K. come over and they just buy a bunch of flour and then take it back with them. Mm-hmm. But for the time being, unfortunately, it's just the United States.
Okay, no worries. Because I do actually have listeners in the United States anyway. So it's cool. So I'll obviously put the links up. But if we can get something where to talk about it, have to get some sort of thing going. And maybe even just have you on my site, because people I deal with a lot of people with skin issues, a lot of people with chronic fungal infections, etc. And I'd love to make them aware of you guys, because it's going to be something that they're going to be able to have your foods and enjoy, and it's going to just take it's what you said before, replacing stuff, right? So even have you got I don't know, I think you have actually. Have you got Umbar over there in America? Umbar, the raw chocolate.
Could be. I'm not familiar with it.
Okay, so for example, women, men as well, but a lot of my clients, women, and they love chocolate. And Umbar, for example, it's a raw chocolate. It's made with coconut, a little bit of coconut sugar in there, but it's made with coconut milk. It's got probiotics in there, and you give a woman a bar of chocolate that they can eat, and it's not refined sugar in there. It's not got any of the bad stuff in there. They love you forever, So it's sort of like with your food, saying to people, right, you can have a donut, but you can have this or that. You just want to get out to more and more people. And have you got any? So at the moment you've got a few different things. What have you got about? Just looking here, 8 products. Have you got anything else coming out soon?
Actually, we do. We are about to release. We're working right now on the our maple glazed donut, which with the glaze will be literally organic maple and coconut oil. And then we're also going to be coming out with just a traditional cake donut for people. I don't know if you knew this or not, Ryan, but there are people out there that don't like chocolate.
Oh, really?
And yeah,
Weirdos.
And so for those folks too, and a lot of, maybe for parents as well that feel maybe reluctant, even if it is a healthy quote unquote donut, they still feel a little reluctant about giving their kids maybe chocolate for breakfast or for an everyday, every moment snack. So we'll be releasing that cake donut as well. And, at the end of the day, like you said before, it's just a matter of giving people options that they want. And if everybody, the donut is our most popular product. So let's give people more options to eat donuts and still, starve out that grant, the yeast and the fungus and all the malaise. So, it even though it's a donut, it's technically a nutritional delivery mechanism. Yeah. But donut sounds so much better.
Yeah, no, it does, 100%. People are like, I can have a donut. Yeah, of course, but you got to have this donut, not that donut, as we say. And that's the big difference. So yeah, no, guys, that's brilliant. So the thing is, the other test as well. What I want to mention quickly was you got 3 kids, 3 boys,
3 little boys,
3 little boys. Nightmare. Brilliant though. How do they like the food? The kid test. How do they like it?
They love it, and it's so funny because they'll be like, they eat donuts, muffins, and cookies daily. Literally every day, probably a couple of times a day at least for each one. And so it's funny because, Lindsay and I were laughing the other day. We had one of our little boys ran in and said, "Hey, Mommy, can I have a cookie?" And we both were like, "You know what? Have 2." Because, each cookie has 4 grams of protein, 4 grams of fiber, and only 9 net carbs. And so the glycemic index on that is just so low. We even have diabetic clients who, say, look, I actually use your products to regulate my blood sugar. I actually use them that have allowed me to bring my insulin, my bolus insulin down by like 70%. And so, again, it's about giving the kids something that they want to eat, but also delivers what they need. And they need that protein. They need that good essential fat, and they need that fiber. And so, man, our kids eat nothing but, at least 2 or 3 times a day, to answer your question.
No, awesome. Just because I know there's a lot of people out there thinking, well, I wonder if my kids are like them. And because that's the thing, if you can start getting your kids to eat them this way early doors, then you're onto a real winner, right? And the kids are notorious to say, no, I don't want that. And they can be quite hard to deal with. A lot of people find is in terms of just getting them to eat stuff. They can be quite picky. And so you give them a cookie that they can eat and they enjoy it, or a muffin. So you've got muffins, cookies, skinny donuts, and
our tortillas and flour.
Yeah, tortillas and flour. Yeah, and so that's awesome, guys. And that's what I want to say to you, but you mentioned before a little bit about people feeling as well. The real test, guys, out there is you eat this stuff and you see how you feel on it. And as Daniel said, people feel amazing. They feel clean on it. They've got energy. They don't feel like they're hungover. And I don't. Obviously, people always want to bang on about research studies. I mean, it's almost like if their body tells them something, they're not even going to believe it until a study comes out telling them that they were right to confirm it. I just look at things and go, anything after 1950 is basically pointless these days. Scientists are the new prostitutes. They can be paid for whatever results they want to get, funded by a lot of these big companies. And so just go out there, eat these foods, and see how you feel. No, I mean, statistics mean nothing to the individual anyway, So go out there, eat these foods, see how they feel, and that's going to be your ultimate test. That's your study of one. And so, yeah, guys, as I said before, that's the website is www.guiltlesssuperfoods.com. Go over and check it out. And they've got a lot of, as I mentioned, the products on there before. And even if you fancy cooking something yourself and you don't like tortillas or donuts or whatever you want to make, but maybe a cake or whatever else, they've got the flour there. Buy that and just go nuts and try stuff in the kitchen, because it's gonna go a long way to making, well, obviously improving your health. And any snacks you make, any sort of like Sunday treat, for example, it's going to be packed full of nutritional goodness. So, guys, I just wanted to say thanks for coming on, and thanks for doing what you're doing, because it's going to be, I mean, you're making a big impact in the world and you're just helping people out all over. So thank you for that.
Well, it's certainly our pleasure. And again, thank you for what you're doing. It's being, a voice, in the wilderness for people who are, looking for alternatives and who feel, maybe left out. And you don't need to feel that way. I mean, there is a solution to feeling excellent every day. I think that's the destiny of, of us as a race. I mean, we're God's children, and I don't think He wants us to feel bad ever. I mean, I think, that it is possible to feel great, not just good, but great all the time if you empower your body with the tools that it needs to, help you. And so I think that there's a whole nother world out there that we can all tap into, if we make those choices and, through free will, you can do that.
We just saw on your Instagram, you have, if you ain't eating right, chances are you ain't thinking right. And we completely agree, that it is a total, mind, body, spirit thing, that your food, your diet, your lifestyle affects every single way of the way you think, feel, sleep, behave, all of it. So, we're grateful to hopefully be able to fuel people in, a healthy manner for every area of their life.
Amen.
Yeah, but guys, I should just mention that the guys are at guiltless_goodies on Instagram, and you guys on Facebook as well?
We are, same name.
Guiltless Goodies, yeah, on Facebook. So follow them there, because they've got a great page there as well. Actually, all full of, your Instagram page is very colourful. I love it. It's brilliant. And so, as I said before, Daniel, you're a personal trainer. You were going 1-to-1, and now you're going 1-to-many. So you're doing great things, and we'll get it out to as many people as possible, so we can really affect change. But thank you so much, guys, for coming on. I hope the heat doesn't wear you out too much today, as much as those three little guys. And keep doing what you're doing, and later on we'll get you back on, and you can tell us about any sort of updates or any sort of new products you've got coming on the market.
We'd love that.
Ryan, it's been such a pleasure. Thank you so much for having us.
No worries, guys. Cheers. See you later.
Bye-bye.
So, guys, that was Daniel and Lindsay Crouch from Guiltless Superfoods. As I said before, you can find them at www.guiltlesssuperfoods.com. If for anyone who's in the US, anyone who's in the UK, don't worry, I will be working on getting these things to us by whatever means be possible, because I really feel like this is something that people need to have in their life. Quality over quantity all the time, obviously, and these products are made with not just incredible quality ingredients, but they're made with supreme love from these two wonderful individuals. So hope you learned a lot there, guys, and really, I mean, even if we can try and get that flour over, I'm sure we can do something with that. So you can start making your own cakes or goodies anyway. That'd be something great. And just to let you know, guys, these sort of things, go and making sure when you're making a lot of these ingredients that I said before, like they're gluten free, for example, but they'd be full of other rubbish ingredients. You need to look for integrity. The ingredients in any sort of product, any cake, etc., tells you the integrity of the company. So when you're dealing with people like the guys at Guiltless Superfoods, you know you're dealing with people with the utmost integrity. Anyway, guys, that was episode 26. Let me know what you thought of it. Because as always, I love feedback. And next week's show, we have got Dr. Deborah Davis, all about the truth about mobile phone and wireless radiation, which is going to be a doozy. I already know, because it's something I get asked about a hell of a lot, and it's something that's relatively new to us here, or us in humans, I'd say. It's only been around for 20, 30 years, etc., and not to the extent that we use our phones now, so that's going to be a great episode. As always, guys, if you've got any questions, send them to me at ryan@reviveyourself.co, and if you'd like to join a free 4-day mini course, as I said before, any gut issues you've got going on, fatigue, gas, bloating, acid reflux, skin issues, adrenal problems, if you've got any thyroid issues, then head on over to www.reviveyourself.co. It should be up on the homepage now. If it's not there yet, because I've been having just been doing quite a lot of work on the site, etc., then send me an email at ryan@reviveyourself.co, and I can give you the link to the free 4-day mini course. You're going to learn a lot about what you need to do and what the root cause of these issues are. These aren't acute problems. These are chronic issues that come from lots of many different factors, but there's 3 main issues that we cover. And as I said before, if you need, I mean, to be fair, it's here what else you can do, just because it's just easy. Always heading over to the Revive site, because there's lots of articles on there. You're going to get lots on that, but also heading over to our Facebook page, Facebook.com/Revive Natural Health. You get lots of my daily videos uploaded there. You can always add me on my personal account of Ryan Martin as well. It's a picture of the same picture you've got as the podcast. Lots of free information there, and follow us at Instagram. Revive_yourself there. So guys, thanks very much for listening. That was episode 26. 27 is going to be a cracker, and as always, any questions, give me a shout. Stay happy, guys, stay healthy, and I'll speak to you soon.
If you're struggling with gut issues such as gas, bloating, constipation, diarrhea, indigestion, heartburn, and want to finally be able to eat the foods you love without the crippling after effects, then don't forget to head over to reviveyourself.co and pick up your free copy of The Healing Health Paradigm today.